All right. So welcome to the support session for CHCDEV001, Confirmed Client Developmental Status. My name is Sarah and I've recently joined the Sci-Fi team, and I'll be running support sessions each week to support you all with assessment tasks and just questions and queries that you may have throughout the weeks. All right, we'll get started. So first of all, I'd like to acknowledge our elders, past and present. TAFE Queensland acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and respect the continuing connection to land, waters, cultures and family that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples uphold. We pay respect to elders past and present and future. We recognise the teaching and the learning that has taken place on country for over 60,000 years, and two-way learning is an important part of our reconciliation journey. Okay, so we're here today to provide support for the unit, CHCDEV001, and today we'll be working on Assessment Task 1. Okay, I'll guide you through with any pointers or suggestions for assessments and answer any questions or queries that you may have at the end. And if you ask me something and I'm unsure, I'll get back to you by the end of the day. I'll go to my supervisor and get the right advice and get back to you. Okay, there are 3 assessments due for this unit. So assessment 1 is the written case study. Assessment 2, the observation role play and some written, I think it's reflective questions. And assessment 3, workplace student logbook and reflective journal. However, today's session will just be on assessment task 1. So assessment task 1 is a case study on an 8-year-old boy, Cody. His name is Cody, that's it. And you are employed as a youth worker at his school. Now, in your learner guide and your assessments, there's quite a bit of information in the case study about Cody's behaviour, what interventions work for him, what's been happening for Cody. There seems to be a marked change. And his mum has been communicating with you to give you suggestions on what works. So question 1 asks you to list 3 risk factors and 3 protective factors. So perhaps get a table with 2 headings, risk factors at the top and protective factors, and then table it underneath, list some factors below. List at least 3 risk factors and 3 protective factors. Okay, moving on to question 2. Okay, so we're going to research the Very Well family website and search for the developmental milestones for an 8-year-old. Now, I was going to ask, has anyone gone and tried to find this document? But since there's no one here, and to see if it was easy to find, I'll give you a bit of a tip. I went and had a look myself. So if you go to the Very Well website and you search child developmental guides, you'll see the document attached in additional content. Oh, let me have a look here. Hang on, sorry. Well, hang on, we'll just go back there. What am I doing? See if I move it down there. Yeah, child developmental guide through the years. That's the first thing you search, put into the search bar, and then you'll go down, you'll see developmental milestones in children. If you scroll down, then you'll see child developmental guide for an 8-year-old. And this will support you to fill out the one side of the table, the expected stage of development. And if you write 2 or 3 sentences in that column underneath expected, and then the other side is the actual stage, like Cody's stage, where he's at right now. Okay, and if you go through the case study and what his mum has shared with you, you'll be able to take the information out of that. Now, you must cover social, emotional, and cognitive stages. Okay, so make it clear when you're answering the questions, and if you're in your sentences, which one you are covering, social, emotional, and cognitive. Okay. And you can expand on the client profile to guide your thinking. You know, that's there for a guide. Okay, so it's question 2. Question 3. What have we got here? List 3 assessments or reports that will be required for Cody. The purpose of these and who will be necessary to complete these. Okay, so if you I'm going to add a document into additional content into this unit, into that section on the left-hand side of your contents of unit, and that'll be a good starting place. This document will provide you with an overview of different tools that may be useful that you could use. So it'll be common assessment tools, you'll see it, and it'll be there under this recording. I'll add it in once I've finished here. Now, make sure when you're answering this question that you specify. So it's 3 you need: the name of the assessment or report, the purpose, okay, the purpose of the assessment and report, and the services or the allied health professionals that you believe would be required to complete these assessments or reports. Okay, so, and make sure, little tip, you provide the full name of the test or the scale, because some of them can be quite lengthy, but make sure you document all that down. Yeah, and I think that you'll be good with that one. Question 4. Okay, so you've recently met with Cody's mum, Carrie. Now, this question, there's four parts to it. It's asking you to, but first of all, you gather more information on the behaviour management strategies. A good place to start is, I think, Mum Carrie came up with some good strategies. Discuss the assessments you would like to perform with Cody and why. Identify referral options in the community. And then use the template. There's a template there for you. Use the template below and write a detailed case note of the outcome of your meeting. So make sure in where it says youth worker, you add your name there. Client is the child in the case study, and then write a date. I mean, just write the date that you're doing it. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, just make sure you're the youth worker. The client was Cody. Mum Carrie is there. You know, either or, and then draw on the information from the case study. Like, really read through it a few times and try, and you'll see the information, be able to draw it out of there. And from your answers in question 1 to 3 as well. Make sure that you're precise and you're clear in your answers. You could, I would say, when the section information gathered, 4 or 5 good sentences on behaviour management strategies, different ones. So you could bullet point that. Assessments required and why they're required. So always be careful of that when there's 2 parts to a question. So the assessments required and why are they required? Referral options. Who are we going to be referring Cody to? You know, who does he need to see to get these assessments and reports for his behaviour? Now, according to the last part of this question is according to your duty of care? What immediate actions are required? Now, if you think about the assessments are going to be done, and a lot of these assessments take quite some time, and reports takes time to get appointments. It takes time to have the assessment written up. So in the short term, what would be your duty of care to start supporting Cody and his mum, Kerry? How could we develop sort of an interim support network? So just think along those guidelines for that part of the question. Now, I hope that's made some sense. And if you, it's all in the case study. And if you just read the case study a few times, and if you're not sure, if you can't seem to grasp it, maybe sit back and then look again and think, what am I not seeing? Because sometimes that helps us to pick out different information from pieces of writing. Okay, so assessment support, housekeeping. So due dates and extensions. Please follow your due dates. They are in Connect on the unit page overview and on the right-hand side of your calendar. If you require an extension, please read the TAFE rules and make sure you align with these. Extensions are only granted in exceptional, jumping through there, in exceptional circumstances. So don't be relying on those, because if you read through the guidelines, you know, it's going to have to be, it's based on merit on individual cases. So due dates. Submitting assessments, they must be Word documents, okay, and they must go through Connect. They will not be accepted by email. Okay, so they have to go through Connect. And there's plenty of support in the learner guide if you're not sure how to do that, on submitting assessments. Plagiarism, it must be in your own words, no copy and pasting. Okay, no copy and pasting from the learner guide, no copy and pasting from outside resources, just no copy and pasting. It's that simple. Okay, you can find material, find information, but you really need to reword it. You need to start your learning. You need to pull the information out and put it back in your own words. So that is expected. Jumping around again. Where are we now? Plagiarism, we've been through that. Referencing, we do encourage you to reference under each paragraph. Example, like the page from the learner guide, or in this case, you can copy and paste a link from an outside resource and put it at the bottom. Yeah, so we do encourage you to start referencing, because if you're going to go on and study, that will be an expectation. So it's good to get into the habit of doing that. Requesting support, email to the sci-fi team. Yeah, the email address is on the unit over page. So it is very important. Let me have a look. When you email to the team, the subject on your email must reflect the content, the subject matter. So please don't be sending in like attention to Sarah or attention to Joe blogs or anything like that. So if it's question on as this assessment or the support session, just write support session AT1 question, and then we can look at it and go, okay, we know what that is, and then open it up. Okay, so just be very clear on the subject matter when you email us for support, please. Resubmissions, assessment instructions for resubmissions are all on Connect there for you to have a look at. Okay, so get started today. That's probably, get onto the assessments, even if if you begin and then you can go back, and it's always important. The up and coming due dates we have here So assessment 1 is due on the 10th of May. So we've got, what have we got? A couple of weeks, 2 weeks. I mean, I would start now. If you start now, you can revisit it, you know, get that more information, get the confidence. And if you get it in early, even better, because then you're ahead for assessment 2. You know, it's really good to be organised and pre-planned. Assessment 2 is then due on the 31st of May. So that's a few weeks afterwards. And assessment 3 is your, I think it's your workplace. Yep, it's a vocational placement workplace journal. So that will depend on when you started, and we'll discuss that further. It's 16 months from when you began, but that'll be different for everybody. Okay, so once again, questions. Please reach out. If you have any questions, send an email. Make sure you include your name, student number, unit code, assessment number, the question numbers, and outline your query. And that's when I go back to the subject matter. If you can put the subject matter as what, you know, in connection to what your query is, and then we'll go on and it just flows on. It makes it a lot easier for the team and for us to get back to you quickly with support. So the next session will be session 2, and that'll be next Thursday on the 27th of April, same time, 1 to 1:30. And next session we'll be looking at assessment task number 2. So I hope you all enjoyed today's session, and yeah, let's get going with these assessments. Thank you. Okay, and that will finish recording. That's the end of the class.